pro-choice supporters that is fighting for the right to, this is what I've been hearing, especially from women. This is my body.
Right.
No one should have the autonomy to take the decision whether I want to carry on the term of pregnancy and have this child or not. You understand? And of course, we have Omega. Omega, what is your response to this exactly? What do you think?
The my body, my choice statement.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's truth. That's inherently true. I mean, it was. Let me do a comparison. When COVID was, now the space, people were shouting, "My body, my choice. I don't need to vaccinate.
Vaccine.
I don't need to put on a mask." So, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So if they can have bodily autonomy for an infectious disease, why can't a woman have bodily autonomy to something that is not infectious, that only really affects her personally, physically, mentally, psychologically, financially? Why can't she have autonomy over that?
Brandon, you want to respond?
Yeah, man. I mean, I appreciate Omega's point of view, and I appreciate the conversation as well. My response generally to this is that is the issue here really the right of the woman's body, or alone, or is it the right as well of the child? The child has that child being a living human being, that child being another individual, another human in that body. The woman has I believe that all women have all rights and autonomy to their bodies. That's their body. But then when you carry the body of someone else, what is the right that you have over their life? That's the thing. So it's not just as simple as saying it should be compared to like COVID, because I feel as though your decision doesn't impact the human life of another person. It doesn't short circuit the life of another person, but that individual who is still forming, who is coming out of the womb, who should be soon coming out of the womb, that individual doesn't have the ability to like speak up for themselves, to say anything. There's no protection for that person. So it's no longer just simply the right of just a woman and her body, because it's not just one individual in the conversation. Whenever you speak to abortion, you have to consider the fact that it's not just one person in the room. It's the mother and the child, and then you have to go along the lines. If the father is there, that the father should be in the conversation as well.
So you're saying, because
I have a counter. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a counter to that, because the general period when a woman gets an abortion or considers an abortion, scientifically, it's not a fetus yet, it's not a baby, it's not an individual, it's not a person yet. It's actually something like an embryo that has nothing decipherable to a human being. So using your argument, then it wouldn't hold water if scientifically at that point in time it's not a person, it is not an individual, because it needs the mother to stay alive to even exist. It cannot exist on its own. So then that argument, I would say, is not as strong, a strong one.
Yeah, I disagree, because there are many medical studies that have shown that life begins at conception. That once that egg is fertilized, they actually say that embryo is producing X and Y chromosomes. It's already have in it organs ready to be developed. They consider that, most scientists actually agree that they consider this a human life. They don't just simply consider it cells, as people would want to call it, but they consider this an actual human information. And at least sometimes the argument is about viability, which I understand what you're saying. Viability speaks to the fact that could this child live outside of the womb of the mother? But we now live in a technological age where we even have a lot of, especially for richer countries, there's a lot of technology where you have children that may be premature, that can survive outside of the mother's womb. But if it's only based on viability, so I don't know. I can't say that. I don't agree that the cell or the embryo is not a human being as yet. I think there are a lot of doctors and there are a lot of medical scientists that have already said life begins at conception. Like that is what you get. They just say, life begins at conception. Then we have the arguments of that, they say, okay, let's consider when the human beat starts, heartbeat starts. They might say 6 weeks. And then they say, all right, well, let's consider when they start to move. But you always have to consider something new on determining whether or not this life is valuable. So the question is,
okay, so I hear
when is life
that, we dissect the life within the womb. We say, when heartbeat starts and when certain things form and all these different things, and we dissect life within the womb, right? But I honestly believe that a lot of people who are pro-life, they're not really pro-life, but they are pro-birth. Because I understand that within the womb, the baby forms, and when it is the baby's doing a certain thing, when it is they have the abortions, you see the baby wincing in the womb, all these different things. But what takes place when the child is born? And to me, that is, okay, so let me just say that I have very radical opinions as it pertains to this. It's not a matter of if anyone judges me. I think anybody knows me would know that I wouldn't care. However, my opinions are very radical. And it's radical because I believe in relating. You understand? I believe in being relevant and understanding a thing. And if it is you don't know what it's like to be unwanted, and if it is you don't know what it's like to be an abused child, and if it is you don't know what it's like to be wanting to die as a child, I really can respect your opinion. And that's just me, right? So the thing is, I'm very passionate. And when I get passionate, I'll be real passionate.
Come true,
and
come
it's
true.
not to say like I just anything personal or anything. So it's nothing personal about anybody on the planet. But I just really passionate when it is I am into that topic, right? And I'm saying all this to say that we study life in the womb and what the abortion does and affect the fetus and all these different things. But this might sound, very weird, but I remembered someone asking me, you ever saw what an abortion does to the fetus in the womb? And honestly, I didn't tell the person this, but honestly, my first thought was, if it is, I have to take, or the fetus has to take 5 minutes of whatever pain that is, and go straight back to the father, instead of taking years of abuse on this earth. Yeah, I have to
Miss Elias. I know you've had direct contact with women who would have had abortions. You work closely with these people. You also serve in terms of counseling and whatnot. What is the mental state of a woman after, before and after an abortion?
Okay, so I will talk from my experience and then I will talk from the experience that I've gathered from other women. So as you rightly said, I am a post-abortion peer counselor, which right there would tell you that that's a serious thing. There is something called PTSD that's attached to the abortion decision. The abortion decision is considered you're trying to fix a problem that's not really a problem. You're trying to attack a situation, really and truly, that if you just sat down and thought about it and analyzed it, you'd realize that there are other ways and there are other options. So when a woman realizes that she's pregnant and she does not want this pregnancy, it's like something snaps in your head. Like, oh my gosh, I have to get rid of this. I have to get rid of this now. Oh my gosh, especially when you have students. What am I going to do? How am I going to feed the child? Am I going to finish school? What am my mother going to think? What's my father going to think? What is the father of the child going to say to this? All these questions that goes through her mind. And if she's not able to sit and properly analyze this situation, she immediately jumps at the option of abortion. Or even if you find, because abortion is not segregated to single people, there are married women as well who get abortions because they are in abusive relationships, and it's either they don't want the child because they are in an abusive relationship, or the husband demands of them that they abort the baby. There are also young women whose parents demand of them that they abort the child. So there are so many factors that constitutes a decision to abort. But there are two main things that come out of it: lack of support or a broken heart. Lack of support or a broken heart. If a woman has support, she will not do it. If a woman's heart is healthy and her mind is healthy, she would not abort. But she goes down the road because of these factors. After an abortion, she has to return to life to normal, although life will never be normal again. You can never be unpregnant. Never. And science has proven that remnants of each baby after each pregnancy remains in the woman. That's a proven scientific fact. So you are literally walking around, even after your womb has been cleaned, scraped, flushed, however the process was done, there is still literally genetic molecules and genetic remnants that remain with a woman. So you can never become unpregnant. So she is forced now to go back to life as normal when life is never normal.
If you enjoyed this video, like, share, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and remember to keep your vibe light but talk heavy.